Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for making time to watch this recording of the Arcadia Abroad info session for summer programs. My name is Angelo Pisano. I'm the study abroad coordinator. And if we haven't met yet for advising, the moment that you do chat with me, you'll find out that I am a language nerd, runner, sort of jack of few trades, but interesting ones. I have a background in German, French, and Turkish language study, and I've been to about like 25 countries or something like that. But super excited and jazzed today to be joined by my colleague Wendy Lombardo. Wendy, you're the Associate Director of Institutional Relations, right?
Yes.
At Arcadia Abroad. Awesome, cool. We're going to be chatting over the course of maybe the next half an hour or so, just about sort of offerings on the Arcadia site. There's some really interesting stuff out there. I'm particularly interested in hearing about like research and internship options too. But yeah, with that, let me just hand it over to you, and then we'll open it up for questions after.
Great. Well, thanks, Angelo. As Angelo said, my name is Wendy Lombardo, and I have worked with Arcadia for 17 years. And have worked with Smith over that time frame as well in different capacities, and happy to talk today about the summer offerings that we have that hopefully you would be interested in attending for a summer program, and happy to answer questions at the end as well. So let me first start off with talking a little bit about Arcadia. Arcadia is an actual university just outside of Philadelphia. And we send about 2,500 students abroad a year. Pre-pandemic, we're hoping to get back to that number very quickly. So come on our programs. We have been doing study abroad for 65, 70 years. And primarily we do send our own students abroad, but a big part of what we do is work with our partner institutions like Smith and other schools. I work primarily in the Northeast and part of the Midwest with schools to talk about the programs that we have on offer. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about our summer programs and what we have available. And before I do that, I also like to talk about our staff, because that's such a big part of what Arcadia is and the reason why students choose to come on Arcadia programs and schools choose to work with us, because we have such great student support through the entire process. So besides me, I'm based remotely. We have our staff that are based in the office in Glenside, Pennsylvania. And the program advisors and the academic and student engagement team are the folks that you'd be speaking with through the application process. I'm sort of the expert, or I've been there so long, so I do know about all of our programs, but I know about all of our programs, and then each of the program advisors that you would be working with are the experts for those individual programs. So they're the ones that really have the very detailed information about courses and housing and arrival and visas and all that type of thing that you might need to know. And then there's our overseas staff, which is a big part of that support once you get in country. And in all of our programs, we have staff in every country where we have programs. And while the staff may not always be in the same city that you're attending a program in, they're always there as 24/7 support once you're in country, and are meeting up with students and doing orientation activities and excursions throughout the summer. So you'll have opportunities to meet them and get to know them and ask them any sorts of questions that you might have. So all that being said, I'm going to start a little bit. I pulled up I'm going to do this through our website just because I think that it gives you a little bit more information than doing it through a PowerPoint. So what I'm pulling up here is our website that talks about our summer programs. And this is just our general summer page. And you can do that through a search to find summer programs. But what you'll see on here is just an overview of the summer options, and then the summer programs that we have on offer. And if you go through here, you'll see that we have everything from internships to summer research opportunities, virtual internships, as well as specific courses that might be on a specific topic. So intensive design in Florence, or museum studies internship. And then we have other opportunities where you're able to do classes in specific subjects. So for instance, we have the PEMBR program, and that are specific to different areas. There's some econ, there's some STEM courses as well. So each of these opportunities, most of them will run about 6 weeks. Some are as short as 4 weeks, and some are as long as 8 or 9 weeks. But the majority of them are going to be 6 to 8 week options for you. When you are looking for a program, depending on what you're looking for, you can go through, we do have our it's called our Find a Program page. And what that gives you an opportunity to do is look at the time frame. So if you look, you choose summer, and then if you know there's a specific subject that you want to do, so if you're looking for something like biology for the summer, and then you know a specific location, you can go in and choose the locations. And what that's going to do is give you the number of matches and give you an idea of what options are available for those types of things. So this pulls up some of our STEM summer research opportunities and the Pembroke Cambridge summer program. And you can do that for any type of subject, but I'm just going to dive into one of these quickly. So to give you a sense, so our STEM summer research opportunities are really unique opportunities to give you a chance to actually be in a lab with primary investigators doing research that is actually already in progress. So it's not like something that's set up specifically for study abroad students. These are actual research opportunities that are happening throughout the year. And so we are able to get students to get involved with this research group. And the STEM summer research opportunities are specific to projects every summer. So to give you a sense of that, there's a STEM summer project list. And what this does is actually go into the different projects by department. So to give you a sense of one of the things that are on here, if we're looking at biology and environmental science, for instance, Dublin is one of the places that we have options for that. And when you click into a project name, what it's going to do is tell you specifically about that project and give you any sort of background that you may need. These summer projects are open for students who have never had any research background to students who have had research background and want to just continue doing that. So this gives you a little bit of information about those options. Now, these STEM summer research projects, you'll see on the side here, it has the status of it, whether it's reserved or enclosed or available. So as you'll see, many of our projects are reserved right now because this has been going, these have been open since December, but there are still that are open. So you'll see on the website the ones that are open and available. But as you go through, you'll see that there are multiple different opportunities in different STEM fields. So if you're really interested in getting that hands-on experience in a lab with a primary investigator and a research team, this is a really great opportunity for you. The other things that are on here, so if we're looking at something like the Pembroke Cambridge summer program, that's going to, again, give you a little bit of information. The information along this right-hand side is going to give you the most detailed information about each of the things. So it'll go into the courses and talk about the different courses that are available, if there are any restrictions, how they're structured, how many weeks they are, and that kind of stuff. So that's a good place to be looking, excuse me, for that kind of stuff. We'll also go into housing. So this will give you an idea of what housing is available for each of these individual programs. Some of them may only have one option for housing, some may have multiple options, but you'll see here what the housing looks like, what's available, whether it's furnished, how many people are living there, all that kind of information as well. And then it goes into a little bit of information where you can meet our staff, so you can get a sense of the staff that we have in country and who you might be meeting while you are in country. Excursions and activities that happen. Now, this is a sample of things that we do both during semester and summer. So not all of these things are going to be available for summer since it's such a shortened time, but it will give you a bit of information about some of the things that we have done in the past. The other programs, so you'll what the departure from the US and then the schedule for that, and then when the program concludes and comes back to the US. So these are all going to be different. We have programs that start as early as mid-May and run as late as mid to late August. So depending on what you're looking for, it's always important to look at those program dates to make sure it's something that fits within the time frame that you're looking for. You'll also find information about travel and visas. Now, most of, if not all of our summer programs, you wouldn't need to worry about a visa because you're there for a short amount of time. The only option that you may need to get a visa for is if you're doing one of our internships. And we help you through that whole process for all of that as well. You'll also see on here when the deadlines are. Most of our summer deadlines, some of them have already passed, like this one, which probably wasn't a great one to pull up, but most of our summer deadlines are right now through mid to late March. So if you are looking for this coming summer, it's good to take a look and see when those deadlines are. If you see that a program has passed its deadline, you can always get in touch with me. We may have some flexibility with some of the programs where you'll be able to still apply. So just get in touch with me if there's something. And the other thing I just want to point out, what we've started doing on all of our pages is a write-up about diversity, equity, and inclusion for each of the locations. So if you have any questions, if you look through this and you have questions about a particular program, you can always get in touch with us for more information on that. But that's just a way to give you some more info on what the culture is like in the different locations when it comes to different diversity, equity, and inclusion questions that you might have. So going back to that summer page, like I said, there's a whole host of other options that are available. One of the ones I'm gonna pull up as well is about our summer internship. Now our internship options are academic internships, which means they're unpaid internships where you would be getting, we give credit for those. And the internships are in pretty much any field of study, they're available for option. But there's some really unique opportunities. If you're a politics major, we have some parliamentary internships that are available. We have business internships, we have NGO internships. So there's a lot of information on our website about those. One of the things you'll find on the different locations for internships is the internship placement guide. And what this does is give you a bit of information about how the internship is structured again. And then it goes into the field directory and talks a little bit about some of the options that we normally do. If you don't see an option on here, it doesn't mean that it's not available. It just means it may be something that we don't do regularly, so we haven't put it out there. But if you have something that you're interested in and you don't see it, you can always get in touch with us. But what this does is go into a little bit of detail about the different types of internships we've done in the past, and what types of opportunities you would have for that. Sorry about that. And if you have any questions about these different opportunities, you can always get in touch with me about that. Again, the internship options, most of the locations are 6 to 8 weeks for those as well. And we have opportunities in different locations: Ireland, Sydney, London, and again, gives you some information about those. And then, like I said, there's some really specific things that, if you're a creative writing major, we work with the Scottish University's International Summer School, and they have great opportunities to do creative writing courses. If you're looking at museum studies or curation, that's a great internship for those types of things. We have an archaeology field school in Italy. So there's some really unique opportunities that are available. And then there's other places where you can go and do a variety of courses across the curriculum. So for instance, our University of Stirling summer program that has courses in a variety of different majors. So if you're looking for, something that's not very specific, but you want to go and do an art history class, or you have a science class to do, or things like that, you can find those in many locations as well. So going back up here, we do also have scholarships available that you can apply for. Our scholarships are, let's see, go into this page. You'll find some information about our scholarships that are available for summer. Our summer scholarships are between $250 and $1,000, and you can apply directly to us when you're applying to the program. There are also other scholarships on our page that you can look through, the general scholarships that are available. Again, some of these may have already passed, but you might want to take a look and see if there's anything available that you meet the requirements for those types of different scholarships that you can do for the summer as well. The other stuff on here, we do also have student blogs. So if you want to get a sense of information from students who have gone to different locations in the past, this gives you a good place to get that student point of view for that. I think that about covers just that brief overview, but I want to open it up for questions. Or is there anything else, Angelo, that I haven't covered that you want me to talk about?
I wonder, Wendy, if you could give a sense of like in which program locations students might be in a separate city from, like, say, your program staff. That's
sure.
Not typically a concern that I hear, but just an interesting note that you brought up, I wonder.
Yeah, so our staff in the different countries, we have staff are in London, staff in Dublin, in Edinburgh, in Rome, and in Granada in Spain, and then in Sydney in Australia. And I think that covers all of our summer programs. So if you are doing one of our summer programs that are not in those locations, so if, for instance, you're doing the Cambridge summer program, that campus is not in London. So while our staff is not in that city, typically orientation will start in that city, and then you'll go on to your program. And then throughout the semester or throughout the summer, our staff is usually going up and meeting up with students for coffee. Or if you're in London, we have an Arcadia center that you can always come to. So our staff is always going to be available 24/7. When you're in country, you'll have an emergency phone number. So if something should happen, you'll always have access to them. But it just means that you're not necessarily in the same city where our staff is located. So for instance, in Ireland, if you're doing the program at Limerick, our staff is based in Dublin. It's about a 2-hour train ride from Dublin to Limerick. So again, you wouldn't be in the same city, but again, you typically would start in Dublin, do orientation there, and then go on to your program at Limerick. So those are some of those locations. But like I said, in most cases, you're going to always start in the same city where our staff is, and then have an opportunity to meet with them throughout the semester and always have access to them throughout that as well.
I know that's great. And I do want to give the folks who joined the call right now live a chance to ask their questions. But before I stop recording, just a note or two actually notes about funding is one thing that you mentioned, Wendy, was the summer opportunity. It's an external one. Not only, are there the Arcadia scholarships, but there are also the ones listed there. One important one is the Gilman Scholarship. It's one that I advise on heavily for our students. If your Pell Grant, if you're receiving the Pell Grant in your financial aid package and you hold a US passport, typically you're eligible for that. And Smithies have been really successful in applying for that. Nationally, the award rate is like 25% or something like that. And the dollar amount is generally between $3,000 to $5,000. So a larger chunk of change than, say, scholarships available through Arcadia or even from our office here at Smith. A good opportunity to check into at Smith is the International Experience Grant. And the deadline for that is April 11th this year. For students looking at this video and thinking about like summer 2023, I don't know if that will be the same deadline, but and certainly you'll have the chance to research and look into Gilman as well. The last thing I wanted to talk about was praxis funding. So if you're looking at Arcadia internships or research, and it's open, there, the deadline hasn't passed. If the important thing that Wendy mentioned a couple of times is the length requirement of between 6 to 8 weeks for those programs, which is good news because with the amount of hours that you would be putting in each week at either the internship location or in your lab, you are likely to be eligible for praxis. So it's just something to check in with at the Lazarus Center about that. And that awards, again, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $4,000 as long as your opportunity is eligible and you submit your application on time, which also I think is coming up in April for summer, but check in with the Lazarus Center website or staff about that.
And I did just pull up our application page that I didn't mention. So it's pretty self-explanatory. What you would do is go in and sign up for the Arcadia portal. As a student, you'll go into the student portal and start your application here. Once you sign up for the portal, you'll get an email from us. And I will say that check your spam folder because sometimes those emails go to spam. And if you are not getting something to finish your sign up, then you can always get in touch with me again and I will work with our IT person to get you in. But the application process for many of the programs are pretty easy. The internship, you do need to have a resume or CV that you would put in with it, but mostly it's biographical information and a transcript and then an approval form from the study abroad office. But pretty much it's self-explanatory about the information that you would need to put in for that. And if you have any questions throughout that process, then definitely just get in touch.
Yeah,
all right.
Wonderful. That concludes the business end of this, and I'm gonna leave the recording there. If you have any questions, like you saw, Wendy's super accessible, and you can also feel free to stop into the Lewis Global Studies Center. I'm in Wright Hall 121 for some advising, and check out the resources in our resource room too. I think we have some outdated stuff and some new stuff as well from Arcadia, so lots to look into. Thanks so much.
Thank you.